on this special Take a Look. It's an Avatar Fire and Ash takeover.
This is the only pure thing in this world.
Pandora is back, and it didn't come to relax.
I'm not taking a knife to a gunfight.
James Cameron once again saying, sure, let's casually raise the bar even higher for cinema.
This world goes much deeper than you imagine.
New clans, bigger danger, zero chill.
Your goddess has no dominion here.
We're talking with James Cameron, Sigourney Weaver, and yes, pretty much everyone you want to talk to from the cast.
You want to take on Awa? You need me.
How they made it, how they survived it, and how this movie somehow looks even better than the last one.
What does that always say?
Sully stick together.
No, the other one.
Sully never quits.
That's right. Sully's never quit.
This isn't a sequel, it's a flex. Take a look. Avatar Fire and Ash. Come for the spectacle. Stay because your jaw will be on the floor. It's a special Take a Look.
Hey, welcome back to the half-hour special, all things Avatar, Fire, and Ash. And if my tones have shifted, it's because I'm in front of the person without whom it wouldn't be possible. Well, congratulations.
Yeah, it's all my fault.
Oh, your fault. You know, there's a perfunctory thing, a sycophantic thing that's kind of obligated to this chair to always say, well, you've outdone yourself. But truly, that would be an understatement. You have outdone yourself, and every time you do.
Thanks.
What kind of pressure is that?
Well, it's a lot of pressure, but I think it's good pressure, right? It pushes us to really use our imaginations. I haven't outdone myself. The team, the collective, has gone beyond, and it's coming from a place of experience. We now know how to make an Avatar movie, so we're past that early stage of trying to, sew the parachute on the way down. Right? Because we just jumped out of the airplane, 20 years ago when we started Avatar. Now we know how to do it, so we're a little more in charge of the craft, and maybe a little more disciplined about what we're here to say. And I know the actors now very well, and we just really enjoy that part of the process. I would say it's a more joyful process now than it used to be, less challenging. But the team all does feel that. I don't know if it's pressure. It's a self-challenge, if you will, to show something amazing, and we all love that.
Sure.
I mean, it attracts, sort of magnetically attracts the kind of people that want to do really cool things.
We have a mutual friend, Gary Davis, who was a big part of Terminator 2, who said that there will be no better coach in the industry than James Cameron. And among your attributes, he said, you know every molecule of every department. There are some people that are actor directors or picture directors. He said, no, he knows every molecule of every department.
I love the craft. I also think it's important to stay humble before the craft and always learn new things. For example, I love to operate the camera myself. I'll put it on my shoulder, or I'll operate a remote head, and I love that. And the new tools are always kind of flowing in. We don't develop the camera tools. We do the kind of the crazy CG stuff, and we're always developing in that area. But I love every part of it. And when I'm on a live action set, I'm helping people move stuff around, moving lights in the dolly and things like that. If I don't come back with my hands dirty at the end of the day, I don't feel like I'm shooting.
Got to roll those sleeves up.
Yeah.
16 years, so much has changed in the real world and even in the world of Avatar. What are some of those changes that are represented? Like I'll even point it out, there's a crowd scene, and whatever the Avatar equivalent of social media capture is, it's taking place.
Yeah.
Their Avatar equivalent of iPhones, all of this is going off.
Yeah.
What other changes?
Well, I mean, look, the scripts for The Way of Water and for Fire and Ash were written 10 years ago, actually over 10 years ago. So when The Way of Water came out, we saw certain things about the audience response and what they liked. For example, Payat Khan, the character of the Tulkun, the young Tulkun rogue bull that befriends Jake Sully's son-in-law, okay? He emerged as like the favorite character in the whole movie. Well, I hadn't written a very big part for Payat Khan in Fire and Ash, so I had to develop a whole story around him and kind of push him back into the spotlight, and other things that just kind of evolved as we went along in the storytelling.
For obvious reasons, Charlie Chaplin would be very proud of what you've done with the craft.
I think so. He was such an innovator, right? And Una Chaplin, his granddaughter. would be quick to point out how much of an innovator he was and such a dominating force in film at that time. She's a very, very good actress. She's RADA trained, you know, Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts in England, and she brought so much experience and training to her character, and she's, I think, just riveting in the film. I mean, she's so kind of darkly charismatic in the film. And, you know, so what we did was we imagined the character. I wrote the character. We imagined the character visually. She saw what she was going to look like with the headdress and the kind of the tight ligature, you know, kind of like an Amazon warrior. And there was a kind of a sensuous aspect to her as well. But there was also that kind of power and control. And she just inhabited her. And she worked out her own motion. She developed her own weapon. How many actors do that? Which was based on a bugeng, which is a kind of scythe-like cutting blade. And she even worked out the dance where she twirls them. That's all her. Una created. She created part of the fire ceremony. You know, a lot of the fire ceremony. She even brought in actual Amazon tribal shamans to share ceremony with us. And Kate Winslet, you know, kind of went to school on that, you know, plant medicine practice and that shamanic practice. Because Una's very, very well networked in the Amazon and within indigenous tribes.
That's awesome.
It's like, you know, she couldn't have been better for that character. Sorry.
No, you gave me great prep. I'm talking to her next.
Okay, good.
You've done it again.
Okay, all right. Thanks very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. When we come back, the rest of the cast, Una, her performance, we'll talk about that and more. Don't move. All right, as promised, our half-hour special, starting out with the stars of the hour. Congratulations on an amazing film. The dust hasn't even settled from the premiere. How do you feel? Down the row.
Whew.
Well, you're a newbie. So
I mean, I was blown away. We watched it a couple of nights before, but it was so amazing to watch it with a cinema full of people and hear the reactions and the laughter and the, you know, you could hear people white-knuckling their seats. You know, it was so beautiful.
Yeah, for the two of you, you know, she is the newbie. The two of you walked into this 16 years ago. There were no expectations. No one knew what Avatar was. Right. How daunting is the pressure knowing that you've got to top it each and every time?
Yeah, it's still daunting. It's still I think the thing with this is we kind of keep ourselves insular when we make it, and we just try to tell the best story that we can tell. And then so by the time we kind of come out of our filmic hibernation kind of thing and hand it over to an audience where it rightfully has to go, of course you're going to be nervous. You hope that it connects, you know.
But I think that Jim Cameron is very, very adept at managing expectations. You know, when we tend to have these kind of team meetings, you know, in the locker room before we go out and do press and everything. And it really, so much of it is about, we don't know. You know, just because they loved us the first time and second time around, that doesn't necessarily mean anything. So let's just keep our heads on straight and let the chips fall where they may and hope. It's great to hope it's going to do everything it's intended to do.
But it's definitely the best of the three.
And tell me, why is that?
Is that because of that new character?
Yeah, exactly.
Is that because of the new character for Wrong, I think.
What do you see?
I'm not biased or anything.
What's so different about this one?
Oh, you just go deeper, you know. You're just getting the juice of all the relationships. Like, you know, I like you a lot more in this film than I did in the first one.
Very nice to hear.
The character has come around. The arc has gone a nice direction.
Finally, you learn how to act.
We're getting very comfortable doing the press together. The insults.
That shows love, though. If you were being like perfunctory polite to each other, I would assume you hated each other.
Yeah,
So it's
interesting.
You do have me considering, what is a James Cameron locker room speech like? If he's huddling you around, what is that motivational line?
It's
that
like him as a director.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Inspiring. He likes everybody to, you know, be involved. It's not just him telling us how it's going to be. It's exactly how he directs. It's about empowering people and
bonding.
Yeah, gently bonding and saying, it's okay, we can go and talk about it.
And it's great because he kind of administers direction during it. What very interesting thing he said one time was to Una, if it's all right if I say it, he says, you're way too humble about yourself. You're way too humble about yourself because you're amazing and extraordinary in this film. So, you know, talk about what you do and everything. And now she can't shut up.
I told my dad that. He was like, what?
Yeah.
He said James had to pump you up and
Yeah,
give you an ego boost?
he said I wasn't humble, and I was too humble, and my dad went, what?
While we consider your family for a moment, people forget what a technical innovator Charlie was. What would Charlie think if he was watching this film?
It's so interesting that you say that, because that's where I keep going back to. I mean, James Cameron and Charlie Chaplin are both working with cutting-edge technology of their time, and being innovators and revolutionaries in their field, but at the same time telling stories that are so very rooted in the human heart, or the Navi heart, or whatever,
Sure.
but the heart and relationships. And so they it's like the technical aspects of it is like great. They're masters, and it's, thank God, and it's beautiful and it's glorious. But really, they're like, what's inimitable is the heart of it. The heart of the stories that really touch us all. Because it's like, that's the thing, the people of the world, like millions of people, maybe even, hopefully, billions of people will be laughing and crying together in the cinema.
Absolutely.
And that's what a unifier, what a way to unite the world.
Such heart, and occasionally some humor. Of all your lines, like I had no idea how many times you would be landing things that would have thunderous
Neither did I.
laughter. What's your favorite line, or the one that got the biggest laugh that surprised you?
Well, you're not supposed to be tickled by your own work, but
Come on.
I mean, you know, but when when the guy like pokes me and I go, I got my eye on you. It's just such a pathetically, you know, ridiculous thing to say. And then I wondered, I said, wow, is that the same guy that Wayne Fleet, you know, kind of takes out a minute later? And I'm not sure it is, because I had no idea I was delivering one-liners.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't trying to be funny.
We were
or
saying you
anything.
kind of needed that levity because the movie comes from such a dark place. So you need that kind of balance. In the other movies, Jake was the knucklehead who you could laugh at, but I don't think that would have been appropriate in this one. So you needed certainly that kind of light relief in order to find that balance. And Jim's like a great conductor in that.
It's true. It's a great blend. It's perfection. Hey, speaking of perfection, thank you so much. Sigourney Weaver when we come back. Don't move. Hey, welcome back to our half-hour special. As promised, Sigourney Weaver back at it. You know, James always promises it's going to be better, and you think, well, it's going to be more of the same. How can it be better? But yet it is even more immersive. It keeps on growing.
I know. And I know it's hard to believe he can top himself. And then he does on every level. Action, themes, you know, character development. It's just, it's such an experience, you know? That's what I felt.
And your character has grown more and more like at the heart, the core of the emotionality of this universe. What kind of pressure is that?
Oh, you know, I'm so into Curie, I'm not even thinking about things like that.
All right.
I think she feels personal pleasure because he, you know, when we see her again, she still can't connect with Awa, and that's very confusing. And so, but I think you see all the kids come into their own in this movie in a very beautifully structured way.
And continuing on as Curie, this is at the heart of it, a teenager with all of the trappings of human teenagers. Yeah, a lot of layers of complication. How do you tap into all of that?
You know, I sort of from the beginning went back to myself at that age. I was this tall when I was 11, so I was very, you know, kind of, don't look at me.
Sure, we all had something.
Yeah, of course. It's a very great and bad time. And so when I get on the set, I just let those feelings that I had then about my body, about everything else, come back into me. And then I just let it happen. One wonderful thing about working with Jim on these films is, unlike a more conventional film, of course you have to prepare for every job, but here you get to prepare and then arrive in the volume and with Jim and each other find out what the scene is really about. And he always likes to be surprised because he knows what he thinks it's about, but he so welcomes our input.
And you would think in a movie like this, where every pixel is pre-thought of, that there would be no room for improvisation or growth. But you're saying on the day, things are changing.
Oh, absolutely. And that's why he designed the technology this way. The technology is so far away from us. For us, we're in our little suits and on an empty stage, essentially, and he's right there. He doesn't have a camera in his hand. And so together, it's we take as long as we need to find all the values in each scene, and it's a real exploration and kind of celebration.
There's so many wins, so many celebrations. In fact, there's a scene in this movie that I harken back to like Aliens, where the audience could high-five your character if they would. What's it like sitting in the audience, without plot spoiling, but just see the audience go, yeah! It's something you've done.
Well, it's very, it's very gratifying because I feel they celebrate that with every single character. Every character has losses and wins, and I kind of feel like I'm always been surprised that Kiri resonates with so many people. The people identify with her, and so when she has a win now, it's really important.
Sure.
You know?
If you could go back to that teenage Sigourney Weaver we talked about and tell her that she was going to have the life you've had and have done all the things you've done, what would she say? How would she react?
She'd say, it will never happen. I didn't even say I was going to be an actor for a long, long time. Not till I was in my mid-20s, really, when I started to be able to make a living. And so I think she'd be utterly amazed.
Congrats on this and everything.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much.
Hey, when we come back, we talked about the next generation. Thanks to Sigourney, you're going to meet them. We'll be back right after this. All right, welcome back to our half-hour special dedicated to all things Avatar, Fire, and Ash. Look, I'm a little nervous because these are the fleeting moments, and Sigourney Weaver said, you're the best thing about the movie, so I better not screw this up.
Sig. Oh, that's so sweet of her.
All right, 10, 20 movies from now, when you look back to this, what's going to be the moment on the day that crystallizes it for you? Your favorite set moment?
I think being cast. Because that started it all. Getting that phone call, if you're going to be in the Avatar films, you're going to be part of this franchise. That is what crystallized for me. I remember it vividly, as if it was yesterday. Right. Hysterically crying.
Yeah, what did that look like? Did you scream or did you pause?
My mom left a room and I was like, where is she? Like, what's going on? Like, she's always next to me. And I'm like frantically looking for my mom. And she goes, you got it. And I'm like, I got it? She's like, you got it. And I start crying.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's so amazing.
I mean, to kind of piggyback off that, I remember when I was cast, my mom was on the phone with the casting director, and we were in an Uber going from, what is it, Santa
Monica Pier.
Santa Monica Pier. And basically, we were leaving in the Uber, and Margie Simpkin, the casting director, called my mom, and I remember just like looking out the window, and it truly felt like time froze, and I just remember that so vividly.
Awesome.
And it was, I was in shock. Wow. Like, I just couldn't move. But the reason why that was also significant in Santa Monica Pier is because, not to speak for you, but...
I also went to Santa Monica Pier when I
when
got
you were
the
cast.
role.
Oh, wow.
So there's
How
something
random.
special
We did
there.
not know
We did
at
not
the
know,
time.
yeah.
That was not planned, but the universe planned it.
Yeah.
And to piggyback off of that, I think the moment I got cast is definitely a special one I'll look back on forever. And the fact that we both ended up going to the Santa Monica Pier is a weird kismet situation, but I just couldn't believe it when I got that call, and I was so excited. And especially after having the screen test with Jim and doing all these fun improv situations about my character, I was like, just so excited to jump into it, and I just can't believe that's the day that started it all, really.
James Cameron loves to remind people this is not animation. These are your performances. So
Yes.
when you say it helps you become resilient.
Mm-hmm.
Has it
Right.
made you tougher physically? Like, what was the stunt that you're most proud of? The most physical moment in this movie featuring you?
I have two. I mean, anything underwater.
Yeah.
For like 3 months, I was in this full face mask every day, Monday through Friday, underwater, like 30 feet. And it was a lot. And then I think as far as non-water stunts, there was this one day where there's a floating mountain. There's a fight that takes place in the floating mountains, and I have to like have this crossbow, and I like jump down from like rock to rock, and it was like a big jump. It was like 10 feet here, 10 feet here, and it's these wet, mossy, foamy rocks that are so easy to slip on. And I just remember I slipped a lot, but we got it. We got it once, or we got it finally after like 10 tries, and I was so proud of myself. It was like no stunt person required.
That's amazing. Chills just listening to that.
Seriously, well, you rocked it.
Oh, thank you.
I really loved all of the rapids and currents scenes when we were just getting away from the ash, when we're on the run, me and my Sully siblings. I think that was so fun to film just because the tank actually creates those storm surges or waves or rapids. And it was intense, but really fun.
Zendaya doesn't have as many action scenes in Fire and Ash as she did in The Way of Water. Like, I did this, 5-minute breath hold and all of that for The Way of Water. But in Fire and Ash, we get to see her relationship with Loak expand. So it was more of an emotional deep dive rather than the physical one. Sure. And it was really incredible to work because I'm a sucker for love. So it was really fun to do that.
It is a beautiful thing. So as we wrap it up, like the Easter eggs or the little nuanced moments that you hope people don't miss, that is, what would be it for you?
I love the little stuff, like the Pandora biomes, like the swamps the bugs buzzing above the swamp, or when Loak and Spider are playing with the Talcoon and there's sun rays and water, and then so Jim made sure there's a rainbow in that moment because of how the sun would hit the water. It's like all of those little things that are so detailed.
And the eclipse as well, that comes back. That's been in every Avatar film, so that's a really beautiful, streamlined moment that brings you back to the reality of the days changing and how long this war has been.
I love the Wind Traders. I've said this whole tour now, but I mean, the Wind Traders are such a cool people. They're such a cool culture, and I mean, they travel all over Pandora. They get to see everything. I mean, I love like their ships. We call it like the gondola. They have like these cool giant crossbows. I mean, they're so cool.
You know what else is so cool? You guys.
Oh,
this has been awesome.
Thank you.
That's all our time. Thanks for watching on AFN in 177 different countries and territories worldwide. We salute you. In a word, see this movie because
it's the best.
It's
made for the
everything.
movie. It's everything. Bring your family, bring your friends. Just go by yourself. Please see it. It's an amazing experience you won't forget.
It's the holidays, you gotta go.
what they said. Peace.